All military aircrafts are impressive, because of course they are. They have to be. Nobody wants their country to be defended by a paper plane. The aircrafts that you know about are only the tip of the iceberg, though. It's the secret ones that are the most fascinating. These are the 20 most secret military aircrafts in the world. Number 20. The Lockheed Martin SR-72. First up today, we have a top-secret aircraft, which is less top-secret than it seems. Like all of these things, they're often more effective if your enemies actually know that you have them. This is the Lockheed Martin SR-72, which also goes by the name Son of Blackbird. This is an American aircraft concept which is in development with the aim of being used for reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, and surveillance. You know, spy plane type stuff. It is the proposed replacement for the retired SR-71 Blackbird, hence its more cute moniker. The test vehicle for this aircraft is scheduled to take flight in 2025. At the core of the plane's unique specifications is its hypersonic abilities. Whether it's to be manned or unmanned, there are no other spy planes that are currently able to operate at these kind of speeds. The Son of Blackbird breaks the mold when it comes to ambition, and it would mark a major transition to the new era of hypersonic flight. It is amazing, but also, if you think about it for too long, it's kinda deeply terrifying. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Now it's time for the sweet topic. This image is concept art for a brand new aircraft the United States military is rumored to be working on. If it works the way it's supposed to, the thing will be a fully undetectable spy airplane. Literally no radar will be able to register its existence. If they do pull it off, it will be the best spy vehicle of any kind in the world. But the problem is, while they can make it work, it is pricey. They will probably only be able to afford one unit, and if that's the case, the big question becomes, what's even the point? As always, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below using the hashtag #SweetTopic. Number 19. Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit. Next up, we're poking around in the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, or stealth bomber. It's another American invention which was designed by Northrop and made a reality in the 1980s, and it was produced between 1987 and the year 2000. This heavy strategic bomber featured then top-of-the-range stealth technology, which was designed to be able to sneak into dense anti-aircraft defenses without being detected. The aircraft is still a major player in the stealth technology that's used in the United States Air Force today, and these bombers do still fly, and the technology that was created in their development has continued to inform the aircraft and stealth tech that is applied across the industry today. The B-2 remains the only long-range penetrating stealth bomber in the United States arsenal. It has a deadly combination of stealth, long-range strike capability, heavy payload, and precision weapons. As the years have gone by, the B-2 has continued to be upgraded and now incorporates the very best of 21st century technology with all the digital junk that entails. Number 18. Lockheed Martin SR-71 Blackbird. Back in the late 1950s and early 60s, Area 51 was the location of several special projects, one of which was the development of a stealth recon aircraft known as Archangel 12. Now, it was designed by Lockheed for the CIA and was destined to become the fastest plane in the world at the time, eventually being the blueprint for the SR-71 Blackbird. It was tested in Area 51 and was veiled in huge secrecy, which was particularly important given the fact that it was being built as a spy plane in the midst of some distinctly uncomfortable Cold War tensions. This was the daddy of the Son of Blackbird, if you will, and it was the most advanced sort of plane that the world had ever seen. At that time anyways. It was one of the very first aircraft that was developed with a reduced radar cross-section, as in the beginnings of stealth technology. As well as that, the plane was equipped with aerial recon for a selection of gear that included signals intelligence sensors, a camera, side-looking airborne radar, and more. The Blackbird could operate at high altitudes and high speed, which meant that it was able to pretty much avoid, or at the very least, outrace any kind of threat. Such was the superior speed and function of this aircraft that it could pretty much just run away from any missile that was tossed in its direction. The Blackbird retired in 1999, and its jobs have been assumed by various unmanned aerial vehicles and recon satellites. It is yet to be determined if the SR-72 will take its place. Number 17. Aurora. Now for something that is nothing but a rumor. A whisper behind closed doors, if you will. A muttered word in the shadows. This is the Aurora, but did she ever really exist? Back in the mid-1980s, there was a lot of chatter about a top-secret American recon aircraft, but there is actually no evidence whatsoever that the plane was ever built, let alone even flown. But in the mid-1980s, there was one major reason for all the rumors, and that was the Cold War. All of the posturing and threats of that era would often result in rumors and secret plans, both real and fake, circulating in an attempt to put fear into the enemy, the Soviet Union, and to maintain the impression of military superiority. The Aurora has only ever been denied by the United States government. They say that no such aircraft ever existed, and no one has actually ever uncovered any real proof. The story began when the Los Angeles Times reported that the term Aurora had been used in the 1985 U.S. budget and had been allocated $455 million for black aircraft production in the year 1987. The whole thing has since been explained by the former head of Lockheed's Skunk Works division, saying that Aurora was not an aircraft, but simply the budgetary code used for the stealth bomber program that ended up becoming the B-2 Spirit aircraft. Mystery solved? Well, probably. Number 16. The Boeing X-37B. The secretive and unmanned orbiter that is known as the X-37B belongs to the United States Air Force. But what is it and what does it do? Well, the thing looks a lot like the Space Shuttle, but on a distinctly smaller scale. It is bullet-shaped, black and white, and has small wings, much like that more famous space vessel. This one, however, is not designed to carry any humans on any space missions like the NASA spacecraft, with which we're all familiar. But rather, it's one that's designed to go out and do the secret work of the United States Air Force out in space. The orbital test vehicle is unmanned, designed to spend many months on end in orbit and carry out top-secret classified missions for the American military space program. It's shrouded in a whole lot of secrecy, so that's led to plenty of speculation about what the plane might be able to do. The things that it seems to be doing, like testing an ion thruster, doing a NASA materials experiment, that doesn't really give up a whole lot in the crazy space weapons ideas that have been thrown around by the conspiracy theorists out there. But who knows what they may be actually doing? Any ideas? Go ahead and vent everything to me about it in the comments section down below. You know you'll want to. Number 15. The Boeing Phantom Ray. Next up, we have another stealth aircraft, where this time it's a demo stealth unmanned combat air vehicle, or UCAV. This demonstration model is basically the same sort of size as a regular sort of fighter jet, and it's been designed to perform a whole bunch of tasks, although it's not yet been put into production. The first test flight was back in April of 2011. These things really do take a long time to develop now, don't they? The Phantom Ray is supposed to be conducting a series of test flights in which it will practice its skills for surveillance, ground attack, and its autonomous aerial refueling jobs. This project has been funded by Boeing and was kept at the most top secret of levels within the company until May of 2009. They didn't develop the aircraft for any particular military program, although there's no doubt the technology will be incorporated into some stealth craft in the future. Number 14. The Boeing Bird of Prey. Back in the 1990s, there was a real fixation on stealth technology. The relatively new advances in the field meant that all the aircraft manufacturers were working on some kind of stealth machine or another, and Boeing's offering to the world of sneaky military planes that could hide from detection was the bird of prey. The appearance of this plane is enough to spark the imagination. It looks like a futuristic movie sort of plane, or something that perhaps Batman would fly around in. But it is actually real. The story behind it is shrouded in mystery, because it would be, wouldn't it? There's not much point in developing some stealth technology than telling everyone what you plan to do with it. The technology that was used within its construction is also a closely guarded secret, so much so that the whole thing was created and developed at Area 51. So go on, tell me what you think of this stealth aircraft. Get your conspiracy theories flowing in the comments section down below. You know you want to. Of course, the name Bird of Prey is kinda cool, so there have been other planes that have taken on the same moniker. So we may well be showing you footage of something banal like the Airbus Bird of Prey concept, which is not the real aircraft, and it's definitely not anywhere near as cool as the stealthy Boeing one, even if it does have a snazzy paint job. Number 13. Northrop Grumman RQ-180. Next up, we have another one of those stealth UAVs. That's unmanned aerial vehicle to you and me, which has been in development for some time, although there have been no official images or statements about the aircraft released. In 2021, there was a video released in which the United States Air Force seemed to suggest that they may be preparing to release information about the Northrop Grumman RQ-180. Let's just hope they come up with a cooler name. This craft seems to have been in development since the retirement of the SR-71 Blackbird, and has apparently been designed to fulfill a similar sort of role. Although the confusion caused by the conflicting requirements of the US Navy and the US Air Force seem to have chucked a spanner in the works since the cancellation of the Joint Unmanned Combat Air Systems project. After that program was split in two, the United States Navy then went in one direction and created the Northrop Grumman X-47B, whilst the US Air Force began a classified program. So as such, there are no hard and real facts about the RQ-180 and its capabilities, or even what it looks like. The plot does thicken. Number 12. The Lockheed Martin Polecat. Up next is another UAV. This time it's the Lockheed Martin Polecat, or P-175. This secretly developed aircraft was funded internally at the company, rather than at the behest of the United States government, so it wasn't developed for the military or any kind of specific project, and didn't come about by using government funding. That's a change from the norm. It began its development in 2005 and was produced over a period of 18 months. It was shown at the Farnborough International Air Show in Hampshire in the UK in 2006, so images of it do actually exist. But then in December of 2006, the test aircraft would crash because of an irreversible unintentional failure in the flight termination ground equipment, which caused this catastrophic failure. Number 11. The TR-3 Black Manta. At last we have something that's rumored to use alien technology. Yes, that is what some people have been saying about this super cool top secret project. In fact, it's so very secret that it only has an unconfirmed rumor. Can you even call that an airplane? Well, let's have a bit of nose about in it, shall we? This is the alleged TR-3 Black Manta, a black project of the United States government. And that means that it's so secret nobody can know about it, except apparently some random nerds on the internet. It's weird, but anyways, the rumors go like this. This super secret spy plane uses technology of a non-human origin, because of course it does. And this stuff, whatever it may be, is so very potent that it will paralyze any man that's in its presence. There's a tiny problem that you may have noticed at that point. This is allegedly a mysterious triangular flying object that people have said they've seen flying all over the show for the last couple of decades. But it has been officially completely denied, and that's what they would say now, isn't it? But what do you think? Is it just an old load of guff? Here's a hint, it is. But go ahead and have all your opinions alike in the comment section down below, because that's what it's there for. Number 10. The MiG-31 Foxhound. This plane is known as Foxhound and is a supersonic interceptor aircraft developed by Mikoyan Design Bureau for the Soviet Air Force. It was designed as an upgrade for the earlier MiG-25 Foxbat, and it shared many design features with it. It's recognized as one of the world's fastest combat aircraft. Russia plans to keep the MiG-31 operational until at least 2030, as confirmed by an announcement that extended the service life of existing aircraft frames from 2,500 to 3,500 hours. They do enjoy getting their money's worth. Number 9. The Sukhoi Su-57. The Sukhoi Su-57, which is known as Felon in NATO reporting, is a twin-engine stealth multi-role fighter plane that was developed by Sukhoi in Russia. It has come from the PAK-FA program, which was launched in 1999 to create a more modern and cost-effective alternative to the MFI project. Within Sukhoi, it's designated as the T-50. It is the first Russian military aircraft to integrate stealth technology, and they're aiming to use the Sukhoi Su-57 to establish a foundation for a fleet of stealth combat planes, which is not exactly something that the rest of the world is likely to be all that thrilled about, to be honest. Combining capabilities for aerial combat, ground and maritime strikes, the Su-57 has a whole bunch of fancy schmancy features like stealth, awesome maneuverability, sustained supersonic speed, integrated avionics, and sizable internal payload capacity. It was designed to succeed the MiG-29 and the Su-27 in the Russian military, and it's also being planned to be made available for international sale. The first prototype took flight in 2010, but the program did have some delays due to structural and technical challenges that were uncovered during the testing phase. The initial production aircraft suffered a crash before delivery, further adding to the woes of the development process. Eventually, the first operational Su-57 would join the Russian Aerospace Forces in December of 2020, and as of December of 2022, a total of 11 units have been produced, not including the prototype test aircraft. But there are likely more on the way all the time. Number 8. The Chengdu J-20. And where the United States has the F-35, China is close behind with this, the Chengdu J-20 Mighty Dragon. This is the Chinese Chengdu Aerospace Corporation's twin-jet stealth combat aircraft that was developed for use by the People's Liberation Army Air Force, or PLAAF. Its main purpose is to excel in air superiority while also being really good at precision strike capabilities. The J-20 lineup comprises 3 variations: the initial production model J-20A, the versatile thrust vectoring J-20B, and the J-20S with dual-seat capabilities for team operation. The Mighty Dragon began life back to the JXX program in the 1990s. The world got a proper look at it during the 2016 China International Aviation and Aerospace Exhibition. In February of 2018, the first J-20 combat unit would be established, so China became the first Asian nation and the world's second overall to have a functional stealth aircraft. When it comes to 5th-generation fighter aircraft, the J-20 is the third currently in operation after the American F-22 and F-35. Number 7. Shenyang J-31. The Shenyang FC-31 Gerfalcon, also known better as the J-31, is a Chinese mid-sized twin-jet 5th-generation fighter aircraft prototype created by Shenyang Aircraft Corporation, or SAC. The SAC's official name for it is the Gerfalcon, but it's also been called the F-60 or the J-21 Snowy Owl in certain media outlets, and some military enthusiasts would term it Falcon Hawk. It's suffering a bit of an identity crisis, it would seem. The poor love. It's had more name changes than Kanye. The JXX naming in the Chinese military actually refers to programs that are funded by the People's Liberation Army, whereas the FC-31 was developed independently as a private endeavor by the aircraft manufacturer. Hence all of the great naming discombobulation to begin with. Number 6. The Dassault Neuron. Up next, we have another of those thrilling UCAV aircraft, where this time we're peering over the fence at one that has been in development with international cooperation. This is the Dassault Neuron that is being led in development by the French aviation company Dassault. Several other countries have also gotten in on the project, as well as France, Italy, Spain, Greece, Sweden, and Switzerland. They all have a proverbial finger in this particular stealth pie. The goal of this project is to produce an autonomous stealth UAV that's able to perform in medium to high threat combat zones. There are similar projects in other places around the world, and that's what all the cool kids are doing after all. Number 5. Taranis. Next up, we have the British offering to the world of unmanned combat aerial vehicles. This is all getting a bit like Keeping Up with the Joneses now, isn't it? Anyways, BAE Systems in the United Kingdom has been at the head of the program to develop an aircraft named for the Celtic god of thunder, Taranis, which is designed to perform stealth unmanned missions. Much like many of the other contemporary craft that we've been looking at today, the idea is that this unmanned aircraft would be controllable by satellite link from basically anywhere on the entire planet. It could fly intercontinental missions, and it could also carry out a host of different sorts of weaponry. It would be equipped to carry out both aerial and ground strikes, and its use of stealth technology would make its detection pretty tricky. It sounds absolutely terrifying, and frankly, this stealth unmanned stuff is beginning to give me the Wiggins. Number 4. The HAL AMCA. The HAL Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, or AMCA, is India's answer to some of the questions that stealth technology has been posing for quite a while. This aircraft is a 5th-generation stealth multi-role combat aircraft that has been developed for both the Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force. It's also been upgraded lately with a whole bunch of 6th-generation technology. These things are tricky to keep up with. The entire project was shrouded in a sort of secrecy, but the kind where you like your enemies to know that you have the tech and that you're not afraid to use it. The aircraft was a joint project between the Aeronautical Development Agency, the Defense Research and Development Organization, the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, that's the HAL part of the name, and a private Indian company. It's estimated that the costs of the project are somewhere in the region of $2 billion. The stuff is bananas expensive now, isn't it? But just imagine how much it may cost to get all of that alien technology. Number 3. The KAI-KFX. The KAI-KF-21 Barrame was previously known as the more pronounceable and easier out-of-the-mouth KFX, but it's emerged as its current self with this new name. It was a South Korean-led initiative which had aimed to create an advanced multi-purpose fighter aircraft for both the South Korean and Indonesian air forces. The aircraft's airframe has much greater stealth capabilities when compared to 4th-generation fighters, although it doesn't house weapons inside of it like its 5th-generation counterparts. However, there is a possibility that some internal bays might be added in later stages of development. It just keeps on getting new and shiny bits as time goes on. Led by the South Korean government with a 60% stake, the program's ownership is shared. Indonesia got a hold of a 20% share in 2011, while the remaining 20% is split amongst private partners, which includes the manufacturer Korea Aerospace Industries. That is the KAI part of the name. This marks South Korea's second homegrown fighter jet project following the FA-50. The first prototype would be revealed back in April of 2021 during a ceremony at their headquarters at an airport, and it was officially named the Barrame, which translates to Young Hawk or Fighting Hawk in Korean. The initial testing flight took place on July the 19th of 2022, and production is set to commence in the year 2026. These things do take time, you know. Plans currently include delivering a minimum of 40 aircraft by the year 2028, and South Korea's deployment goal is 120 units by 2032. The aircraft is intended for export as well. In Indonesia, the corresponding program is referred to as the IFX Initiative, and the completed aircraft is expected to have the designation of F-33. Number 2. The Mikoyan Scat. Here we are with some of the Russian military of defense's efforts in the field of stealth aircraft. I don't really like it either, but it is a fact of life. The Mikoyan Skat is the concept aircraft that incorporates all the technology that we've seen everywhere else in the world. This is another one of those stealth unmanned combat aerial vehicles that we've been learning about so much, and it's been in development since 2005 by the Russian Ministry of Defense when Mikoyan began to work on the flying wing design with an emphasis on low observability. These aircraft are designed to have a reduced radar cross-section, but they are also designed to be slim visibly and fast. Very, very fast. The Mikoyan Skat seems to have been a kind of drone that was designed to carry out weapons in two weapons bays that were large enough to accommodate missiles like the Kh-31, the Russian surface-to-air missile. It was also intended to carry loads of up to 2 tons and had a combat radius of 1,240 miles. It appears that although a mock-up of the aircraft was created for display at the MAX International Air Show in 2007, the drone never got any further in its development, and the project was scrapped in 2012. The tech that was developed here went on to be used by other aircraft, and it would end up being developed into another vehicle. Number 1. The MQ-9 Reaper. This next aircraft also sometimes goes by the name of Predator B, so either way it's kind of intimidating. This is another UAV that was developed to perform remotely controlled or autonomous flight operations, mostly for the United States Air Force. And it's one of a series of craft that are referred to as remotely piloted vehicles or aircraft, or RPV or RPA, which indicates that they're operated by humans from the ground. Now, the aircrew for this particular plane monitor and control its use, including any weapons employment, from a ground control system. Now, it was especially developed as the first hunter-killer UAV for high-altitude surveillance missions over long endurance, and that means that it's not only a spy plane, but it also is able to engage in combat, which is kind of terrifying. Apparently, there are more than 300 of these things out there in use by the United States Air Force at present, and many of them have been retrofitted to offer major upgrades of their equipment for performance in so-called high-end combat situations. Each one of these UAV hunter-killers comes in at a tidy sum of $30 million, and that was in 2022. As well as featuring heavily in the arsenal of the Air Force, it turns out that the Reaper is a favorite amongst the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. You can imagine the sort of things that they might need this kind of technology for, and it probably isn't for checking your passport at the airport. Well, that's all for today's nose around the top-secret aircraft hangars and black sites from around the world. Which of these aircraft captured your imagination the most? And which ones seem like a whole lot of rumors and bluster? You should go ahead and let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, be sure to check out the other cool things that are showing up on the screen, and I will see you next time.